Let's talk best bets for Wednesday night. We got Rob Denson back with us. You can see Rob on our Weekend Wagers show every Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. And it's the best time of year. Day basketball games all day. That's where my picks are going to be going. But we'll throw it to Mr. Denson first. Rob, what's your first play for today?
Yeah, man, excited as well. My play will not be during the day. It'll actually be a little bit later, but I'm going to go to the Mountain West first round opener. I'm going to take UNLV minus 12.5 over Air Force. Look, UNLV's dominated them the last three games, winning by 29, 19, and 25. Air Force is 4 and 27 on the year. They don't have a lot to play for. Should be a smash spot. The only thing I do want to note is that Julian Rishwain, I think that's how you pronounce his name, he transferred from Florida. He plays for UNLV. He's out. He was actually filling in for Didon Thomas. Now both guys are out, so they're going to be short staffed, but it's Air Force. It should be an easy game. UNLV still trying to buy into the tournament, so take them minus 12.5 at minus 118. Second play, we're going to go to the ice tonight at Buffalo versus Detroit. And I'm going to take Jason Zucker, 1+ point. He just got paid the other day. 2 years, $9.5 million extension. He has 18 goals and 26 assists in his last 54 games. And against Detroit, he has a point in six of his last eight with 6 goals and 3 assists overall. Both teams are too inconsistent to bet the money line or spread. Detroit's still in a playoff race, but they've lost their last six. Buffalo somehow beat Edmonton. They look good, and then they'll come and drop this one because that's just their MO this year. But I'm taking Jason Zucker, 1+ point, and that's at plus 112.
Yeah, the wings are reeling right now. It's been gross as the Detroit sports resurgence tries to get across the finish line with all these teams making the playoffs. I have a couple thoughts on both these plays. I love UNLV, first of all, for a couple reasons. I've watched a lot of UNLV this year. They're on late, and Cart and I both have done years of Mountain West basketball watching with whatever the 11 p.m. tips are. This team has some shit to them. I really enjoy them. Like they're more feisty, I think, than they are good, but I like backing feisty teams against pretty dead bad basketball teams early in the conference tournament because you can kind of beat up on them and get some confidence going. So I love that play. I had that one circled on my card as well. I am going to tell you, I'm not going to act like I know anything about hockey, but when you said he just signed an extension, you lost me because that's what my basketball coach did, and then they just gave up on the season after. Notoriously, I'm a you sign an extension guy. I'm fading you for the next month. Are you worried about
Yeah.
that at all, Rob?
Not really, because he was injured as well when he got his extension. He came back Monday. He didn't get a point Monday, so I'm hoping now maybe he gets that resurgence and gets a point tonight.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. All right. I'll give out two plays from my side and then we'll go to Cart here. I have been screaming this one all day to Cart, and maybe he'll be with me on this. Rutgers money line versus USC in the Big Ten tournament late game tonight. The crowd's going to be behind Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey. Rutgers is 1 point underdogs on the spread against a team they beat by 10 roughly 3 weeks ago. But in that game, they won by 10. I think USC Stars played as good as they could have possibly played. Des Claude and Wesley Yates combined for 53 points. Still lost by 10 on a night where Ace Bailey didn't even play all that well and Dylan Harper was good, not great. I feel like we have the evidence to support that USC doesn't exactly have a great matchup against Rutgers, even if things go well. USC's been awful. We talked about the West Coast teams traveling east in the Big Ten this year. They're 2-9 outside of the Pacific time zone. Welcome to Indianapolis for the Big Ten tournament. I don't think they anticipate a very long stay here. And no Big Ten team has been worse than USC down the stretch either. 1-6 against the spread in their final 7 games. This is a team that, to me, has sort of given up on any sort of exciting hopes for postseason runs. I think Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey will get up for this, much like they got up for the Players Era Festival back in November. Give me Rutgers to win this game outright. Cart, you were nodding. Are you with me on this play?
I am with you on this play. I like that. I like it a lot, given all the things you laid out there. The spot, especially. I was also shaking my head for a little foreshadowing because I do have a play from that game as well.
Okay, we'll get back to you in a moment. My second play for the day is also in the Big Ten tournament. And I am kind of speaking with my heart on this one. I'm not going to lie. I'm taking Iowa plus 5.5 against Ohio State. I'm also going to sprinkle the money line. This is Fran McCaffrey watch. Everybody has been asking Fran McCaffrey if he's retiring or leaving at the end of this season. He says no. Even if he doesn't want to retire, they're going to force him to retire. This is a situation where he's in F it, this is all I've got mode. He's changed the personnel after Owen Freeman quit on this team. Brock Harding's playing less lately, and I think that's good for Iowa. Uh, their last two games, when they were supposedly like quitting on the season, everyone knows it's over. They jumped all over Michigan State and led by 10 midway through that game. And then Michigan State did championship shit and took it back. But then they went to Lincoln and just wire to wire beat a Nebraska team that's one, pretty good, and two, was playing for their NCAA tournament hopes. They eliminated Nebraska in a spot where everybody said Nebraska had everything to play for. This is the exact same spot now in the Big Ten tournament. Ohio State needs a win to keep their NCAA tournament hopes alive. We've seen this Ohio State team struggle down the stretch. They lost 4 of 6. All of those games had similar game pressure. It's like, we need this to preserve our spot. I think this Iowa team is just pretty fearless at this point. I don't think they give a damn. I think there's a couple guys that are playing their last games in college basketball that really care about Fran McCaffery and are going to give this their best shot. Peyton Sanford's a dude I could see having a great game in this spot. So I love the spot. Plus 5.5 for the Hawkeyes. My Hawkeyes, I'll take that against Bruce Thornton and Jake Diebler in a pressure-filled situation. Cart, you are a Bruce Thornton defender, though. Are you going to push back on my Hawkeyes belief today?
No, I'm not, because the moment that I stand up for Bruce Thornton, he always leaves me by myself. And I'm sick of it now. He's on his own.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. Rob, any thoughts on my two college hoops plays?
Yeah, man, take Iowa just straight up money line. What is that? I would almost just sprinkle a little bit on the money line.
Yeah, it's good value. I think here, I'll pull it up. Cart, you can go, and then I'll chime back in with the Iowa number. But it's
Okay.
above 2-1.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I'm going back to that USC Rutgers game. I'm going for a player prop on this one. I'm going Des Claude to score 16 points in this game at -120. I'm actually going to suggest that you ladder this, because you can get 20 points for Des Claude at plus money, plus 240. Greg already mentioned it. Des Claude had 30 points against Rutgers in the first game. Rutgers is not your old Steve Pikiell's team. This team has no interest whatsoever in getting stops. And right now, this USC team is Des Claude and Wesley Yates, both getting their shots up and both being able to score at a high level. I love that he scored 30 the first time against Rutgers. He had 21 shot attempts in this game. He's gone over 30 points 3 times this season. He's gone over 20 points 11 times this season. He's a guy that's averaging 16 points. I just love that number. And I honestly, I really want to go all out and just give the plus money pick, but I am going to suggest that folks ladder this, because you can get 18 plus at plus money. And also, like I mentioned, 20 plus points at plus 245.
I would like the history books to note that in this moment in time, Carter Elliott stood with Des Claude while I stood with Dylan Harper as they stared face to face with their season on the line.
Okay, listen. They can lose the basketball game. I just need him to score 16. I don't give a damn about anything else.
He did kill Rutgers the first time too in a loss, so I like the play card. I just want it known, just in case this becomes a Rutgers blowout, like I suspect. You stood arm in arm with Desmond Claude for this spot.
I didn't sign up for you to make this about yourself, and you always find a way to do it. Okay, let me rock. Can I get to my second pick, please?
Please do.
My second pick, I'm back in Shrewsbury and the boys on this one. I'm back in Notre Dame, plus 10.5 against this North Carolina team. KenPom has this game as a 7-point spread. I love that initially. These teams played earlier in the season, and it took an Elliot Cadeau three-pointer. If you weren't listening, it took an Elliot Cadeau three-pointer. That shouldn't even have happened for them to beat this Notre Dame team. And something else that's an underrated factor, Greg, we talk about a lot of coaches that are good in these tournament settings. You and I know all too well that Micah Shrewsbury at Penn State had a knack for playing on the first day of tournaments and winning that game and then stringing wins together, even against better teams in some scenarios. I think that on short rest, I trust Shrewsbury to come up with something that'll make it difficult on North Carolina. And that point spread just being 10.5 is just too good for me to take, given everything I just laid out here. So I'm playing Notre Dame plus 10.5 against North Carolina.
It's my first pick of my daily picks video today too. I like it. I'm with you, Car. It jumped up a point too. It was 9.5 this morning, up to 10.5. I'll gladly scoop up double figures. Just to add a couple data points to you on this, since I already did the research this morning on this. North Carolina in 19 games against KenPom top 100 opponents this year has only covered 9.5 points 2 times. They never beat anybody with a pulse by that much. It's incredibly rare. It was a 1 point game the first time these two teams met, as you mentioned. And I would harken back to 2023, the last time that Hubert Davis had a North Carolina team on the bubble, needing a win in the ACC tournament. Everybody loved this team against Virginia. Everybody said this is Carolina with everything to play for. They got smacked in that game. They scored 59 points and just completely didn't show up. So I love the points for Notre Dame as well. Rob, any thoughts?
So growing up, of course, I'm a Gators fan, but I always went North Carolina just for my hatred of Duke. But they have not been the same this year. I think DG lost a bet this weekend on weekend wagers to Duke. I almost took him in the showdown, but I just couldn't do it. I don't love North Carolina that much. But you're right. They haven't been that good. And when they're projected to win by that much, I'm not taking them at 10.5. I like the Notre Dame play.
Yeah, it's a good side. And if you're looking for early day action, that's a good game. I believe it's a 2 or 2:30 p.m. tip off. So
Yeah.
bet with us all day, folks. That's what we'll be doing. Iowa money line, by the way, plus 180. I was wrong. It's just under 2-1, but I still really like that. I think it's some good value. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We got more best bets for you tomorrow. We got the Weekend Wager Show with Rob and his crew on Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. Good luck on your wagers today, and stay tuned for more.